Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're doing a little tutorial and I'm going to teach you guys how to color natural lips. Well, I normally start off with doing the darker parts first, and I normally go by section, so you're probably going to see me do a bit of the left side since I'm right-handed. It is best, since you're right-handed, to start coloring from left to right, but since the darker parts are normally on the right side, I went in with dark sepia and black just to build up the colors and make it like more natural and just play around with it, but always starting with the darker colors. Though that is not actually a certain rule, it's not like the final rule that you can do, but it is actually very good because it helps a lot with the blending. I have noticed that sometimes, depending on the parts, going in with the darker color later does blend in better, but it just depends on what you're going through and the style. I am using the dark sepia here just to give like a little, like to start out with the darker side, not going in too deep because I will have multiple layerings of the colors, especially since I am doing red lips. I am mostly going with the darker colors. You're going to see me erasing a lot because I normally tend to dim the graphite so it doesn't show that much behind, especially with colored pencils, because it depends on your style. But since I love doing realistic art, it is better for you just to simply just go with a light, just erasing it a bit so it doesn't show on the final results. Coloring the teeth for me is always a crazy part because I never really know if it's light enough or dark enough, because teeth are one of the trickiest parts of coloring. It is difficult, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys. If you love a realistic drawing or just simply doing any other realistic or normal just traditional drawing in general, drawing teeth with a mouth open or slightly open, so if you are going to do that, it's actually very good to build up and train your eye how to do in shading, because it's very good. Here I am going to be adding a darker tone of red. So I started using dark red on top of the dark sepia to make it a shading even darker, and I do go outside of what I shaded because it will help blend the colors better. Here I'm going in with another shape of red, which is deep scarlet red, and as you see, I am blending it slowly in, because the more layers you use, the more vibrant your actual illustration will be, because you're actually evolving yourself a bit more, so it will definitely get even better. And here I'm also now using the lighter red, which is pale, oh my god, pale geranium lake. I used this to blend in the colors. I actually picked up the colors so I could read it to you guys. I'm going in with black on the darker sides of the inner corners of the mouth. If the video happens to become even faster than it already was, it's because I'm simply making this I'm making it faster so you guys can see what I've done during the creation process and everything. If you've noticed, I normally go in and out with my colors. Sometimes I come back with the darker shade, and afterwards I go in again with the lighter shade, because it creates this amazing blend. And then when I'm actually done and satisfied with like the result, I normally take the lighter shade and I burnish it out. Like, I really press into the paper. But before that, I normally just use like really soft. I go in really lightly with my hands, creating little circles, like little slow motions, circular motions, just so I don't damage the tooth of the paper. And it's a long process. It does take time, but it is easy to learn. It's one of those things that if you want to like develop patience, realistic drawing is literally, especially with colored pencil, because it's one of the slowest mediums, it's definitely what you want to develop more patience to do like everything you want. Because going in from realistic colored pencils, you can start adapting yourselves to other like mediums as well, from paints and everything else. I mostly do traditional drawings because it relaxes me a lot. And here's a little thing: if you guys suffer with anxiety or stress, I really recommend you learning a new skill, mostly an artistic skill like drawing, or you can buy an adult coloring book. Adult coloring books really help a lot. And oh my god, if you guys heard that, that's just my social media going crazy. Because I forgot to put everything on mute, and I'm so sorry for that. But either way, I hope I'm getting better at doing voiceovers. I know my other videos for February have not been really voiced over. I just had a lot to do, and I do have a job, so I'm doing my best to post one video a week for you guys. And I saw in the comment sections that a lot of you guys wanted me to do tutorials. Even on my Instagram, you guys asked me to do tutorials for you guys. So I sat down to talk about my drawing process. And it's just really simple. If I ever do a Patreon, I do have all my recordings there, so I'll probably just add all of it to the Patreon one day, but only if you guys want to, of course. And you'll have like real-time progress of all of my drawings. If you guys are wondering why I didn't color in the white spot there, it's mostly because in the original reference that I chose, I'm actually going to put the reference up for you guys when I'm talking about this. I need to put a note to myself that, and just so I can remember that. It's because it's really, really white, and I didn't really want to put paint over it, or like I do eventually end up using like a white gen. What am I talking about? I do use. Here's the thing: being bilingual is so complicated, because your brain is focusing on what you're trying to say in both languages at the same time, so please forgive me for this. But as I was saying, I didn't want to color in with a white color. I actually used like a light icy gray to put it in, because I also didn't want to leave it plain and white, because after a while, depending if you like don't put anything on top of it, like to just to make it last longer and everything, it will eventually go yellow. And I didn't want to use a white gel pen there. It came out. I actually just wanted to use the colors. I do end up using the white gel pen, but not now. I will use it later because I like to go back in to parts that I have already drawn and colored with the colored pencils, just to make sure I took out like a lot of the little white spots. I have been learning a lot, and one of the things that I've noticed, that the sharper the pencil and the more layers that you can add to your drawing, the more layers, the more colors that you can add to your drawing will make it pop out more, and it will literally eliminate all those little white spots that normally we get when we are coloring. So the more layers you use, the more you are going to be able to make that crystal clear, clean sheet of paper look amazing. But it does require a lot of practice, and I've realized that I have gotten better in a lot of my drawings doing these small parts. Like, I used to have a lot of problems coloring in mouths, and now I'm literally coloring it like beautifully, because it's not my fear anymore. So you kind of have to step out of your comfort zone. I'm going to do more tutorials, especially if this one goes well. I'm going to do like an eye tutorial for you guys, which is something that a lot of people love, is like coloring eyes, because everyone has a different spot that is like difficult to color in. Some people have difficulty coloring in skin tones. Some other people have difficulty coloring in certain parts of the face, like eyes, the nose, mouth, ears. And I'm not gonna lie, there are, especially if you like doing realism or semi-realistic drawings, the ears are definitely one of the most difficult parts to color in. And if you are accustomed to coloring in just one shade, one tone of skin, I am going to be honest with you guys, you will suffer so much to do other skin tones. And I know that because I have gone through this process, and it is crazy. But either way, right now, I am actually just going through the process of just making the right side of the mouth blend in. I'm using the colors and blending in with the dark side, the dark parts of the lips. I'm actually following the reference. I'm going into a couple of parts where I did burnish, but I didn't damage the tooth of the paper so much that I couldn't go in and put more color into the drawing. It's just slow building. The slower you go, the better the results. And I believe that's why I take so long in posting for you guys, because I really like to make everything pop. I like to put in the colors. I like to make everything vibrant because you guys asked for tutorials, so I actually want to be at my best so I can tell you guys where you can go right, because I've already been where you guys are and I've already done something wrong as well. I'm going to speed up a bit so you guys can see me finishing the top half of the lip. Okay, I'm coming back in here right now because on this part where I left a little open spot here, it's because I remembered that I could just use my electric eraser to erase some of the parts that aren't that white. I normally used the eraser for that. And here I'm now using my electric eraser to do a little bit of the details which aren't so white in the reference. The details are the most important part in any realistic drawing because it just makes everything pop, especially if you know how to use it. You can just make the art look even better than it was. And now we're going into the bottom half. I actually colored this part. I did all of the dark shades from the bottom of the lip because it wasn't like the top half of the lip that it was very spread out in different areas. At the bottom part it was actually very unified, so it was actually pretty easy to just place out where the darker parts of the lips were, and like all the shades, all the shadow that you want, which either way you guys want me to use. It could be shades for you, it could be shadows, it depends on you guys. And also, you must never forget that the pencil must be very, very sharp. The sharper the pencil, the easier it is for you to spread the colors out. You will get the graphite of the pencil out so well. It will just come out so well, and it'll be so easy to help you blend and also like cover all of the area faster. And burnishing, when you burnish, you do not need a sharp pencil, but it should be at least a bit longer and rounder, because you're going to use a lot of pressure in your hand, so you don't really need a sharp pencil when you burnish. But when you're going to apply the color, then you will need a sharp pencil. The sharper, the better. I had a problem on the second half of recording this, which was the bottom part. My camera started lagging, and it started like that. It started freezing for no reason, out of the blue, and I don't know if it's because my computer got really hot, because it's really hot here because we're in summer. So yeah. So I'm really sorry for that, but I didn't want to cut out all of the details that I did, so I left it because I wanted you guys to see how I did the coloring process. Just so you know, depending on how strong, like, the force you use whilst you're applying the color, when you erase, if you make a mistake, you can pick up that layer of color that you put and redo it. But it only depends if you have been applying it without brute force, because you only add force when you burnish. If you're not burnishing, go lightly. If you guys would like, I could add a smaller reference of what I mean. Just tell me down below, and I would really enjoy that. If you guys have been watching so far, please don't forget to like this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And thank you for everyone who has been subscribing and liking my videos. I'm actually very grateful for all of you guys. As you can see, I layered the bottom part, and now I'm going in with the lighter color to start burnishing it, but I didn't go with brute force. I had a little, it's like what I said, I practice enough to make sure that I use my strength while coloring, especially whilst burnishing, to know exactly where I want to burnish or exactly where I know I have completed the drawing, because later on, if I want to put more color, it's going to be pretty hard. There were some details that I had added and I had left in white, but I decided to color it in because I could just use my electric eraser to do it, and I was actually pretty happy that I did use the electric eraser. And the extremely white parts, I didn't really want to use the gel pen. I just like using the gel pen for certain details, just to make it pop out a little bit more when there are like a couple of lines that are extremely white. Then I normally like to use the gel pen there. But if it's like bigger spots, I'll just leave it white, and then I'll go in with a really nice light shade of gray, and I'll add it and I'll color it in there. If you guys have noticed, there are some white parts that I left, and then I colored in with only one coat of one of the colors of the red, which was scarlet red, deep scarlet red. That's it, deep scarlet red. And then I went in with the lighter red, so it didn't have like a really dark tone to it, because it's mostly it reflects like the lower part of the lip where the light is shining, but it's mostly the inner part where like lipstick doesn't 100% stick, so it actually has that almost, it's coming out but it's still ready look. It's actually really nice. And as I said, do not be afraid to have to go back and retouch anything in your drawing. The more you retouch a color, the more you, especially if the tooth of the paper has even like, it's still intact and you have like more possibilities to add in more layers, it'll make the colors even brighter. It will make your art look even better than before. And here I'm just adding some details with my electric eraser. On using the white gel pen, it just depends on you guys. I actually prefer using the electric razor and the white pen just to do some minimal details. And this is the finished result. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and like. Tell me down below in the comments if you guys would like another tutorial, and if so, what would you guys want me to draw next and show you guys my process. Thanks for watching, guys.